say to the sick one, be healed. Do you know how big my God is? Do you know how great my God is? I speak to the mountain. I speak to the mountain and I say, move. Do you know how big my God is? Do you know how great my God is? I say to the sick one, be healed. Do you know how big my God is? Do you know how great my God is? He's mighty warrior, Savior, healer, seated in the heavens, all things under his feet. There's no one greater, full of power, he reigns forever, the King of all kings. I say to the dead ones, arise. Do you know how big my God is? Do you know how great my God is? I command the darkness, be gone. Do you know how big my God is? Do you know how great my God is? He's the mighty warrior, Savior, healer, seated in the heavens, all things under his feet. There's no one greater, full of power, he reigns forever, the King of all kings. He's a mighty warrior, Savior, healer, seated in the heavens, all things under his feet. There's no one greater, full of power, he reigns forever, the King of all kings. kingdoms of this earth are becoming the kingdoms of our God. The kingdoms of this earth are becoming the kingdoms of our God, and He will reign forever. As the mighty warrior, Savior, Healer, seated in the heavens, all things under His feet, there's no one greater, full of power, He reigns forever, King of all kings. As well. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows up like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, Thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Christ has regarded my helpless estate, and hath shed His own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. Though my sin o'er the bliss of this glorious thought, my sin not in part, but the whole, is nailed to the cross, and I bear it no more. Praise the Lord, oh my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall not be sought. The clouds be rolled back as a scroll. The In the book of Hebrews, we read a place that everybody loves to read. It's called the Hall of Faith. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Or the chapter of faith. Hebrews 11, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, for by it men of old have gained approval. By faith we understand the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made out of what is visible. By faith Abel offered to God a better sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained the testimony of righteousness. And God testified about his gifts, and through faith, though he is dead, he still speaks. By faith Enoch was taken up so that he should not see death, and he was not found because God took him, for he obtained the witness that before his being taken up, he was pleasing to God. And it continues, and it talks about many, many who have walked by faith, that have seen some of the fulfillment of that faith. But then it goes on in verse 32, what shall I say, for time will fail me if I tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets, who by faith conquered kingdoms, performed acts of righteousness, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, from weakness were made strong, became mighty in war, and put foreign armies to flight. Women received back their dead by resurrection. And others were tortured, not accepting their release in order that they may obtain a better resurrection. And others experienced mockings and scourgings, yes, also chains and imprisonment, and they were stoned, and they were sawn in two, and they were tempted. And they were put to death with the sword, and they went about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, ill-treated. People of whom this world is not worthy, wandering in deserts and mountains and caves and holes in the ground. And all these, having gained approval through their faith, did not yet receive what was promised. But God has provided something better for us, so that apart from us, they are not made perfect. Therefore, since we have a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sins which easily entangle us, and run with endurance the race set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising shame. He sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who has endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you may not grow weary and lose heart. You have not yet resisted to the point of shedding blood in your striving against sin. And yet you forgot the exhortation which was addressed to you as sons. My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor faint when you are reproved by him. For those whom the Lord loves, he disciplines. He trains every son he receives, for it is discipline, and yet that we endure. God deals with us as with sons. And it goes on and it talks about this place in the earth where the earth will be disciplined. Where there are those things which will happen and are happening. And we see it around us. We see it around us. And that verse which talks about not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together has to do with all of this. That there is a time when trouble will come upon the earth. When he wrote the book of Hebrews, it was just before the Romans destroyed the temple. And many believe that it was written in a way to encourage those who would see the destruction of Jerusalem, who would see the destruction of the temple, who would see the calamity that fell. And it was written to let them know that it was okay that the temple was being destroyed. That God is still on his throne. It's not over yet. What was it I said yesterday afternoon in the kitchen, right? I said it's not over till the fat lady sings, right? That's the old saying. And even though I sing all the time, we know it's not over. Because I'm not that one. No. There's this place when we look around at what's happening in the world. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it's discouraging, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard. We see our president make a statement on Good Morning America yesterday that ISIS is contained. Did you know that? He said that. I thought that was a joke. I thought something was wrong, and I looked it up, and guess what? He really did say that. We have ISIS contained. And in a few hours, just a few hours, explosions began in Paris. ISIS is contained? Really? You think so? I believe we are looking at dangerous times and hard times ahead. And I believe we need to not forget, in the midst of all of it, God is still on the throne. Yeshua said in the last days there would be wars and rumors of war. There would be catastrophes. There would be earthquakes. There would be all these things happen. Don't lose hope. Look up. Redemption is near. When we see these things happening around us, we have to know and we have to hold on that He is still Lord, and He is still coming, and He is coming as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Let's do Adonai. Mystery behind the veil.
is real, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malkuto Leolam Vayet. Blessed be the name of the glory of his kingdom forever and ever. V'hafta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol lavaveka uvkol nafsheka uvkol meodeka. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. V'hayu hadvarim hayala asher anoki mitzvaka hayom alavaveka. And these words which I command you today shall be upon your heart. Vishinantam levaneka v'devarta bam bevshekta v'vlek v'derek uvshakbeka uvkameka. You shall teach them thoroughly to your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk on the road, when you walk down, and when you rise. Ukshartam leolot ayadeka v'hayu letotafot bin ineka. You shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, they shall be for a reminder between your eyes. Uktavtam al mozazot beteka uvishareka, and you shall write them upon the doorposts of your house and upon your gate.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קדשנו בדרכך, ונתן לנו את אור החיים בישוע משיחנו, שר השלום.
Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with your Torah, and has given us the light of life, Jesus our Messiah, the Prince of Peace.
Master of the universe, we the children of Israel and of Abraham by faith, ask you for Mashiach to redeem us now with mercy from exile and all suffering, to reveal your name in this world, and to bring peace. We kindle lights to remember to light the way, to turn our darkness into day, and He will shine for all to see. Messiah's come for you and me. We kindle the lights to remember the miracles of long, long ago. The battles fought, the victories won, the enemies we've overcome by your mighty hand. We have to remember that He is the God who will conquer. He is the God who has made it work all along, even in the darkest days. He is Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. We delight in your Shabbat. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We enter your rest and your praises we sing. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. In 6 days you painted the face of the earth. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. And carved out a day when you'd rest from your work. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. You brought forth the nation from Abraham. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. And spared His son Yitzhak, providing the ram. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. The prophets foretold that Mashiach would come. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. Shema Israel, Yahweh is one. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. And just as you rested when your work was done, Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We enter your rest by the work of your Son. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. The lilies you dress, the sparrows you feed. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. You Elohim will provide every need. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. Your people will enter your rest when we say, Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. Baruch haba Hashem Yahweh. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. We delight, we delight, we delight, we delight in your Shabbat. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. We enter your rest, your praises we sing. Adonai, we delight in your Shabbat. core reading today is about the life of Isaac and the birth of his sons. Heldot, it's found in Genesis chapter 25, verse 19 through 28, verse 9.
Now these are the records of the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was barren, and the Lord answered him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. But the children struggled together with her, and she said, "If it is so, why then am I this way?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples shall be separated from your body. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." When her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Now the first came forth red all over like a hairy garment, and they named him Esau. And afterward his brother came forth with his hand holding on to Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she gave birth to them. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a peaceful man living in tents. Now Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And when Jacob had cooked stew, Esau came in from the field and was famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Please let me have a swallow of that red stuff there, for I am famished." Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "First sell me your birthright." And Esau said, "Behold, I am about to die, so of what use then is the birthright to me?" And Jacob said, "First swear to me." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went on his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Now there was a famine in the land, besides the previous famine that had occurred in the days of Abraham. So Isaac went to Gerar to Abimelech, king of the Philistines. And the Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt, stay in the land of which I shall tell you. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and to all your descendants I will give all these lands, and I will establish the oath which I swore to your father Abraham. And I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, and will give your descendants all these lands. By your descendants all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed me and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, so Isaac lived in Gerar." When the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," for he was afraid to say "my wife," thinking, "The men of the place might kill me on account of Rebekah, for she is beautiful." And it came about, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out through a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was caressing his wife Rebekah. Then Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, certainly she is your wife. How then did you say, 'She is my sister'?" And Isaac says to him, "Because I said, 'Lest I die on account of her.'" And Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people might easily have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." So Abimelech charged all the people, saying, "He who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." Now Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man became rich and continued to grow richer until he became very wealthy. For he had possessions of flocks and herds and a great household, so that the Philistines envied him. Now all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines stopped up by filling them with earth. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, for you are too powerful for us." And Isaac departed from there and camped in the valley of Gerar and settled there. Then Isaac dug again the wells of water which had been dug in the days of his father Abraham, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he gave them the same names which his father had given them. But when Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found there a well of flowing water, the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with the herdsmen of Isaac, saying, "The water is ours." So he named the well Esek, because they contended with him. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over it too, so he named it Sitnah. And he moved away from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it, so he named it Rehoboth. For he said, "At last the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." Then he went up from there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." So he built an altar there and called upon the name of the Lord and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with his advisor Ahuzzath, and Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you?" And they said, "We see plainly that the Lord has been with you." So he said, "Let there now be an oath between us, even between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, just as we have not touched you, and have done to you nothing but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord." Then he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. And in the morning they arose early and exchanged oaths. Then Isaac sent them away and they departed from him in peace. Now it came about on the same day that Isaac's servants came in and told him about the well which he had dug, and said to him, "We have found water," which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they brought grief to Isaac and Rebekah. Now it came about, when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called the older son Esau and said to him, "My son." And he said to him, "Here I am." And Isaac said, "Behold, now I am old, and I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your gear, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare a savory dish for me, such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, so that my soul may bless you before I die." And Rebekah was listening while Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game to bring home, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Behold, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau, saying, 'Bring me some game and prepare a savory dish for me, that I may eat, and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, listen to me as I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me 2 choice kids from there, that I may prepare them as a savory dish for your father, such as he loves. Then you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat, so that he may bless you before his death.' And Jacob answered his mother Rebekah, 'Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me. Then I shall be as a deceiver in his sight, and I shall bring upon myself a curse and not a blessing.' But his mother said to him, 'Your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go get them for me.' So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory food such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her elder son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. She gave also the savory food and the bread which she had made to her son Jacob. Then he came to his father and said, 'My father.' And he said, 'Here I am. Who are you, my son?' And Jacob said to his father, 'I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Get up, please, sit and eat of my game, that you may bless me.' And Isaac said to his son, 'How is it that you have it so quickly, my son?' And he said, 'Because the Lord your God caused it to happen to me.' Then Isaac said to Jacob, 'Please come close, that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not.' So Jacob came close to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, 'The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau.' and he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he said, "I am." So he said, "Bring it to me, and I will eat of my son's game, that I may bless you." And he brought it to him, and he ate. He also brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Please come close and kiss me, my son." So he came close and kissed him, and when he smelled the smell of his garments, he blessed him and said, "See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Now may God give you the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth, and an abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you." Now it came about, as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had hardly gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Then he also made savory food and brought it to his father, and he said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." And Isaac his father said to him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am your son, your firstborn, Esau." Then Isaac trembled violently and said, "Who was he then that hunted game and brought it to me, so that I ate all of it before you came and blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed." When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me, even me also, O my father." And he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and has taken away your blessing." Then he said, "Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing." And he said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" But Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Behold, I have made him your master, and all his relatives I have given to him as servants, and with grain and with new wine I have sustained him. Now as for you then, what can I do, my son?" And Esau said to his father, "Do you only have one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." So Esau lifted his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, "Behold, away from the fertility of the earth shall be your dwelling, and away from the dew of heaven from above. And by your sword you shall live, and your brother you shall serve. But it shall come about, when you become restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck." So Esau bore a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing which his father had blessed him, with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." Now when the words of her elder son Esau were reported to Rebekah, she sent and called her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Behold, your brother Esau is consoling himself concerning you by planning to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise, flee to Haran to my brother Laban, and stay with him a few days until your brother's fury subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you did to him. Then I shall send and get you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both of you in one day?" And Rebekah said to Isaac, "I am tired of living because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth like these, from the daughters of the land, what good will my life be to me?" So Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said to him, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram to the house of Bethuel, Arise, go to Padan Aram to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and from there take to yourself a wife from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And may God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may become a company of peoples. May he also give you the blessing of Abraham to you and to your descendants with you, that you may possess the land of your sojournings, which God gave to Abraham." Then Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Now Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and went And now Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take to himself a wife from there, and that when he blessed him, he charged him, saying, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan," and that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and had gone to Padan Aram. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan displeased his father Isaac, and Esau went to Ishmael and married, besides the wives that he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth.
We offer up our lives as a living sacrifice. Purify us with your holy fire. Holy fire, you are the Holy One, highly exalted One. We've come to worship at your holy name. You are the Holy One, highly exalted One, and we surrender to your sovereign will. Oh, Lord God of Abraham, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac and Israel, let it be known today that you are God. Come down and fill this place, be exalted in our praise. Let it be known today that you are God. You are God, you are the Holy One, highly exalted One. We've come to worship at your holy hill. You are the Holy One, highly exalted One, and we surrender to your sovereign will. You are the Holy One. You are the Holy One, highly exalted One. We've come to worship at your holy name. You are the Holy One, highly exalted. Michelle, the apostle, talks about the Torah. He talks about those who came before, and he talks about these things were written that they may be examples for you. That they may be examples for you. What kind of examples do we see in some of what we're reading? Well, not the best, huh? I mean, Jacob, who becomes the chosen one of God, is a deceiver. He gets the